Welcome to A Kind and Gentle Word. I'm Jordan, and today is day 32 of our walk through the book of Psalms. And Psalm 32 is really special. When I was doing my research, I found that the Western Church has defined Psalm 32 as one of several penitential psalms because of its emphasis on confessing your transgressions to the Lord and on the forgiveness of God. So let's go ahead and jump into the scripture, read all the way through Psalm 32, and then we'll talk about it. Psalm 32, verse 1. Blessed is the one whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sins are covered. Blessed is the one whose sin the Lord does not count against them, and whose spirit is no deceit. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy on me. My strength was sapped, as in the heat of summer. Then I acknowledged my sin to you, and I did not cover up my iniquity. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the guilt of my sin. Therefore, let all the faithful pray to you, while you may be found. Surely the rising of the mighty waters will not reach them. You are my hiding place. You will protect me from trouble and surround me with songs of deliverance. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. Do not be like the horse or the mule, which have no understanding, but must be controlled by bit and bridle, or they will not come to you. Many are the woes of the wicked, but the Lord's unfailing love surrounds the one who trusts in him. Rejoice in the Lord and be glad, you righteous. Sing, all you who are upright in heart. The incredible thing about Psalm 32 is David is already talking about transgressions that are forgiven, sins that are covered, and sin that does no longer count against you. And that is something that happens in the New Testament with the New Covenant, fulfilled by Jesus Christ. So let's dive into a few scriptures that explain what that means. Ephesians 2:8-9 says, For it is by grace you have been saved, through faith. And this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. What we see in Psalm 32 is David acknowledging his sin, confessing it to the Lord, and accepting the forgiveness of that sin and leaving it behind. He doesn't have to do anything else. Now that Jesus has died on the cross and risen again, there are no more sacrifices. We no longer have to strive. The gift of grace has been given to us, and all we have to do is unwrap it. Colossians 1, the mystery that has been kept hidden for ages and generations, but it is now disclosed to the Lord's people. To them, God's people. God has chosen to make known among the Gentiles, to everyone, the glorious riches of this mystery, which is in you, the hope of glory. So what Paul is saying in that scripture of Colossians is that in the Old Testament, people had to make sacrifices to please God, to cover up their sins. But now that we have Jesus, we have the hope of glory, which is Christ in us. We no longer have to worry or work. It's all been done for us. And thank goodness, because we literally cannot do it. So I want you to find hope and reassurance in that it is no longer about what we do, but what Christ has already done. Galatians 2:20 says, I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. No matter what your day brings, what temptations or downfalls or moments of doubt, I want you to know that we are living by faith, because it is no longer us that lives, but it is Christ that lives in us. How incredible that a psalm, a scripture from the Old Testament, can bring the hope of glory, Christ's wonderful, wonderful message. Because when you look at the Bible, sometimes it can seem a little bit disconnected, but it all ties together in a wonderful, wonderful tapestry. And a little selfishly, I'm going to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and to hit that share button. Share to your Facebook, Instagram, or just send it as a text, because I'm really trying hard to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. That might seem like a crazy idea, but I believe we can do it. And let's surpass it if we can. Let's do this. And let's remember to be kind to others and gentle with yourself, for we are all a work in progress.